प्रगामपत्थो वयं मायज्यादिन्द्रसोमिनः मान्तस्तूर्णो अरातयः अरातयः. नमस्ते एवरीवन. इस सम्मेलन में पधारे समस्त विद्वानगण एवं आर्यगण का मेरा प्रणाम. I want to thank Arya Samaj of Chicagoland and Arya Pratinidhi Sabha for organizing this wonderful sammelan and for giving me this opportunity to stand on this podium, discourse or discuss a topic that is actually beyond my league, because there is so much spiritual brain power sitting next to me and outside this hall who can do much better job than I could. And yet they gave me this topic. It did come to me as a surprise, but I have accepted the challenge because that is what Swami like this do to me. He says, stand up and do your best. So I'm going to try to do my best today. I have worked on this topic for the last 6 months. That's not the reason I got this topic. With the children's class we run on Saturday satsang, we spend about 13 hours discussing this topic with children, with an interactive dialogue between us and the children to make sure that they understand what this statement really means. We are master of our destiny. Not only that, there is a chapter in VDET 2 curriculum which deals with this topic, which Acharya Brahmdevji wrote. With that said, let's start with this topic. When I received the email from Sabha saying that I had to write an abstract on this topic, a question popped in my mind. And the question is, next slide, please. Why do we need a discussion on this topic? This is a statement. Why do I need a discussion on it? Next. This is the question which popped in my mind. Let me ask you that question. Are you master of your destiny? And before you answer the question, there are 4 alternatives. And let me warn you, this is going to be a yoga class, physical exercise, there's going to be mathematics and English. My style is different. You will realize that very soon. So if you say yes, please raise your right hand. If you say no, please raise your left hand. If you say maybe, look right. If you say I don't know, look left. I see a lot of hands not going up, lots of heads not moving. If you look at it, the answer is not unanimous. And that is why we need a discussion, because we do not agree on it. Somebody gives me a statement, I don't agree with it, or you don't agree with it, we need to have a dialogue. Next thing, English grammar. Let's analyze the statement. There are 2 things in there, master and destiny. If you open up an English dictionary or Google it, because nowadays nobody opens a dictionary. Right away they go to Google and search. Right? You see 2 things there. Master is someone who is skilled, has knowledge of something, and that something here is destiny. And he has full control over it. He administers, he directs. But if you look at the meaning of destiny, he says some event in future, time-bound, of which I am not aware of, I don't know, and neither do I control it. There is a controversy between these 2 words. So how do I say, I am master of my destiny? Next slide, please. Mathematics. Keep clicking. If I plot control and knowledge on the x and y axis of this graph, you will see there are two triangles. Either you are in the third quadrant if you said no, and if you said yes, you are in the first quadrant. If you are in the extreme end and you said no, then you are at bottom end of that. If you said yes, you are at the top end of that. Next, please. What does that mean? Oh, go back, please. You have a problem either way. No means I'm hopeless. I'm a deluded person. That's not what we are. And if you said yes, then also you have a problem. You're hypocritical, you're arrogant, right? That is not who we are. So which way it is? We need clarity on this statement. And hence, we need a discussion. And we take help of our Vedic philosophy. Next, please. Because Vedic philosophy explains what is to be known and what is to be controlled, or what is within our control. It provides a logical and highly reasonable explanation. Depending upon that, we should accept that yes, I'm in control of my destiny, or yes, I'm master of my destiny, or no, or maybe, or I don't know. But there is also a challenge. Next. The challenge is, in order to understand this based on a Vedic philosophy, we need to understand Karma Phal Vyavastha, which is known as also Karma Phal Vivran, law of karma, theory of karma, doctrine of karma, and many such names. What is the challenge in that? There is no single scripture that will cover the entire subject matter of this topic, law of karma. If I go to Swamiji and I tell him, there is a lot of misconception about yoga in this world, can you tell me what is true yoga? He will pick up Yoga Darshan, give it to me, read Vyas Muni's Bhashya, and you are done. But if I go and tell him, can you tell me everything about Karma Phal? There is no single book. It is scattered over all our scriptures. It is talked about in all scriptures and lots of mantras from Vedas. That is the challenge. There is no one single reference book. And no single mind, a human mind, can fully understand how this law or theory works. That is the challenge. And hence, it makes difficult to deliver this. I have tried to simplify it, and in this simplification, due to my limitations, if there are any errors, please forgive me, but please do let me know, so at least I get to learn, so I don't make the same error again. That's my humble request. So let's embark on this journey now. It is based on cause and effect theory. Cause and effect theory is very simple to understand, but the reality is completely different. The law of action says, for every action karma, there is a corresponding result, karma phal. But the reality is completely different. For the same action and same amount of effort, what I found that there are 4 different results. You get exactly what you have acted for. You get sometimes less than you expected. At times you get more than expected, or at times you are completely different than what I expected. The outcome is different and also unpredictable. If you open up a scripture or you speak to someone, it is described as मेरा नसीब ऐसा है, मेरी किस्मत ऐसी है, मेरा भाग्य ऐसा है, my destiny is like this. Different outcomes, unpredictability. Our scripture says there are 3 reasons for this unpredictability. Natural causes, which includes actions by others as well, which are external causes, external cause. Then there is a preordained cause. which we call prarabdha karma. And lastly, is my personal effort. Someone who does personal effort and acts. So all these factors affect the outcome. Next slide, please. Unpredictability. Here is another geometry class. Right? If we plot all the factors that are not in my control, which is external factors and preordained factors, versus the factors that are in my control, which is my own kriyaman karma, my own effort. Right? So go all the way through, please. Click one more time. Yeah. So here you go. So when the external factors are helping me on the x-axis all the way towards the end, with a very little effort, I get a whole bunch of extra perks, a bonus. But there is a breaking point that my effort and my preordained or my external factors are in sync with me, I get what I expected. But if they cross on the negative bar, then I have to put a lot more effort, and yet I get something less. And that also has a breaking point, that I reach a point where no matter how much extra effort I put, the outcome doesn't result. My effort doesn't work. And that is when we say that the outcome is completely different. I tried my best and yet I failed the class. Next. That's why we want to understand karma theory. Just keep flowing through, otherwise there's a lot of clicks on there. I'll run really fast on this. This cannot be covered at that length. But just to give you, first thing we need to understand what is karma if we want to understand the fundamentals of the karma theory. Any intent-based action is karma. There are two kinds of karma, good and evil. Virtuous, non-virtuous. We do karma by three means, mind, body, and speech. There are three ways, three modes of karma: karit, krit, and anumodit. Krit, I do it myself. Karit, I tell someone else to do it on my behalf. And third one is, I just signal someone to do it. I give my silence approval to do it. That is also me. For example, when I ask you to raise your hand, you are not paying attention, but your spouse sitting next to you just say, raise your hand. And you spontaneously raise your hand. You didn't think, it wasn't your intent, it was your spouse's intent, but the action was done by the spouse, not by you. Right? Now, if that is karit. Now, anumodit. If the spouse is sitting a little bit further than you are sitting, just like I try to do, and you are not paying attention, she looks at you and says, she signals you. You don't know what's going on. Because of the signal, you don't want to get in trouble outside the hall, so you just raise your hand again. That's anumodit, right? Now let's look at the outcome, which is what we are after. There are three kinds of outcome as well, right? So the first one is parinam, prabhav, and the last one is phal. Parinam and prabhav happen right after the action. That's why we call them sin. They are seen right away. They are realized right away. But phal is not realized right away. It is based on time. It's a time bound. It comes little bit after, or much more after, or you don't know when. And that is controlled by someone else. Someone else gives you the phal. You never get the phal by yourself. You cannot get it by yourself. So, action is in your control. How you receive the phal, when you receive the phal, where you receive the phal is not in your control. So that is where the control comes in. You lost the control. We talked about control. What we need to know? Karma. We need to know what is phal. We need to know what is prarabdha. We need to know what is kriyaman. So these are the two paths, knowledge and control. Okay. You are going to lose control right now. Let's go. This is another mantra. This is the Vedic Praman. I'm not going to recite the mantra. I got a 5-minute notice, so let's quickly move on. But this mantra says, it basically talks more about what is karma. And it says that it is a universal law. So don't feel bad about it. It is not personal to you or not personal to a group. It applies to every human being, every living being on the surface of the earth and in the universe. Right? It cannot be forgiven. It cannot be cancelled. It cannot be destroyed. The fruits will come to you in now, in this life, or in later lives. The last word in this is very important. Punara Vishati. Next slide, please. So what is Punara Vishati? It is basically about rebirth. Why are we born again? We are born again because of our karma. The universe is cyclic. In this cyclic universe, there is no beginning or no end. That cycle will continue. In that universe, I am born multiple times. You are born multiple times. So if the cycle of universe is infinite, the number of times I am born is infinite. And each life, even though I do finite karmas, there is a leftover because I don't have control over the fruits. Someone else gives it to me. Unless they give it to me, I cannot have it. So when I complete this life cycle, there is a leftover. There is a surplus. I have to receive that surplus. I have to be alive to enjoy that surplus. And hence, I am reborn again. Because nobody, we said it cannot be transferred, it cannot be void, it cannot be cancelled. That means I have to experience it, good or bad. And that's why I'm reborn again. Next, please. So here's a diagram which says, based on the fructification of karma, the time when they fructify, they are classified. This is another way of classifying karmas or karma falls. Sanchit is the infinite karmas which we have accumulated over all the past lives. They are good or bad based on what was our intent when we did it in that particular life. Right? Again, they're infinite in number. Infinite means they are known to God, but infinite from my perspective and your perspective. Go back. Keep on the diagram. Now, when my life begins, Ishwar, out of compassion and His grace, He gives me a little bit of it. Why little? Because I can only chew that much. My life is limited. My capacity is limited. And it is defined by the prarabdha karma. Hence, He gives me a little out of that sanchit karma, which is again a mixed bag of good and bad. It is bound by time that I can consume it only in this life. If something is left over and I pass away before that, that leftover will go back into the sanchit. It will not be destroyed. It will not be void. It will not be cancelled. You don't have control over it. You don't have control over sanchit because you don't even know what is in there. You don't have control over prarabdha because God gives it to you. The picture is not looking good. We are losing control. So we better be in that third quadrant now. But there is hope. Kriyaman is under full control. Kriyaman is what you do in this life. Whatever you do in this life will give you fruit in this life. And if it doesn't give you fruits in this life, it will be added back into the sanchit. Now look what happens. When that leftover goes back into sanchit, if you have done good karmas in this life, what is getting added back into that pot? It is good karmas. The balance of good and bad decides what you will get in your future life. Swamiji said that during his session today. That if you do yajna karmas, there is no way that God will not give you a human life. If you do bad karmas, game's over. Now, there is a third, one more factor. So now we have started getting some control and traction. There is one more thing that comes into play, which was talked about by Aryaveshji, Swami Aryaveshji in his session, sanskar. When you repeatedly do actions, good or bad, it creates mental impressions. Those impressions are stored in your subtle body, right? We say there, okay, I'm doing good in this life. I have no control. If it goes back into the sanchit pot, I don't know when I'm going to get that back. Then why should I work hard in this life? Sanskars give immediate effect in the next life. They carry over, they go with the subtle body in the next life with the Atma and start acting, gives you a head start in the next life right away. So sanskar plays a critical role in giving you a better life. Next, please. Skip the next two slides because that's what I already talked about. Next. So whatever I said about control and what we need to know is on this chart. We need to know Kriyaman karmas and sanskar, sanchit, prarabdha, what we get in this life, what are the external factors, what impacts the next life. You see there are a lot more greens than red. So we should be more hopeful in answering the question now. Next, please. Revisit to this diagram. We understood there are the four factors about unpredictability. Can you please click? Fructification of good or bad karmas decides whether the results are going to be in our favor or against our favor. One more. What can we do? What is of that green triangle about? When the karmas, our prarabdha karmas or external factors are against us, what can we do? We can be tolerant, endurance, patience, help. That is also a karma. When we are hit the block saying that nothing is working for me, you can still be patient. You can still be tolerant. Tap kijiye. That green bar will push you further. How do we get that green bar? Meditation, yoga. So you see how everything is connecting together now. Next, please. Last thing. Thank you very much. Right? So we talked about control. We talked about knowledge. We did not talk about our destiny. What is the significance of deciding a goal? There are two kinds of goal, material and spiritual. And the chart shows what are the difference. One is transient, the other one is permanent. Right? One is short term, the other one is long term. One changes. Material goals changes. There were 5-6 years ago, probably I was thinking that I want to buy a Mercedes. 2 days I changed it to Tesla. That's a new cool thing. But spiritual goals are permanent. And they are not time bound. If my goal is moksha, which is the ultimate goal of human life, then when I go to the next life, my sanskars will kick in and tell me, your goal is moksha. I've crossed the boundary of this life and taken my goal with me. So if you want to take the goal with you, set your goal to be spiritual in nature rather than material in nature. And you have the kriyaman karmas, you have the sanskars, which will help you to achieve your goal over multiple periods of life. So we are not hopeless. We are not deluded. So even if you answer the question right, you still have control over it. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm not going to read this conclusion because of the time. Can you go to last slide? Now, in our Saturday class, whenever I recite a mantra, I always emphasize that the child understands its meaning. If it is not the literal meaning out of the book, we tell them remember some keywords. So I recited this mantra in the beginning. It must be important because Vishruti recited the same mantra. My friend Sudhir Anandji recited the same mantra. And I had the same mantra on my slide. This was not a coincidence. There has to be something else. So what does mantra say? This mantra I selected personally because it aligns with the topic. It says that, oh God, may I never move away from the righteous path. May I keep on doing the right things, right karmas, right kriyaman karmas, so my sanchit pots get ratio of high punya over papa. Then the last two ones talk about sanskars. It says, may I do virtuous deeds. May my sanskars, my impressions be positive. and they never be negative. The negative ones, I burn them off. So that's how this mantra is relevant to this topic. So if you continue doing that, set your goal to be spiritual, you will cross the boundaries and reach your goal. You will be in control of your destiny. Thank you very much.